Hello CX Fiends, and welcome back to another episode of CXTV. We are here at the Trek World HQ in Waterloo, Wisconsin for the fourth and final stop of the Trek USCX series. Bill, we've got the women's race on tap first. What kind of stories are we looking for today?
I think the same stories we've had all series long. Bodie, we're definitely looking at Magali Rochette. Assuming that she's going to have the same race that she had before, so it's really up to the rest of the field. Manna Backer, Sid McGill, the Steve Tilford duo of Nico Knoll and Raylan Nuss to figure out how they beat Magali. Lauren Zerner's also been looking really good. And we need to mention Carolyn Magny. Last time she's going to be racing in the USCX Series race. So we want to be neutral in this, but we're also pulling for Carolyn.
She'll be going for one more hole shot here in Trek. Bill, let's get into the action.
Let's do it.
We are at the starting grid for round 4, race 7 of the Trek USCX series. This is the women's elite, and we're off. Here we go. We are getting started. It looks like Lauren Zerner taking the hole shot. She's got Magali Rochette coming up fast on her side. Nico Knoll, our other hole shot artist, in there, dropping down to 4th place. Manna Backer in 3rd place as they come around the first turns. And over the flyover for the first time, Rochette already in the lead after coming in 3rd wheel for those first couple turns. We've got Rochette, Knoll, Backer as they come on through to the run-up for the first time. This is the same run-up that was in the World Cup. Really brutal part of the course. Takes a lot out of the racers each lap. Nico Knoll leading the way. Magali Rochette in second. Mia Asseltine back from her time in Rwanda racing the World Championships on the road for Team USA. Was in Roanoke, went to Africa, and now came back and picking up where she left off in cyclocross as all of our riders make it through this tricky off-camber section. Another part of the Trek USCX Cup that is a holdover from the World Cup days. Actually, most of the course is pretty much the same course that was run when we were holding World Cup events in Waterloo, Wisconsin. Tough climb on the backside of the course. Magali Rochette leading Nico Knoll, Mia Asseltine, and Manna Backer. And just like we've seen almost every other race of this series, Rochette starting to just stretch the lead a little. Not really any sustained attack, just being able to pick up the pace and go. You can see water being dumped on all of the racers. This was allowed by the officials. When it gets too hot, they're allowed to splash water. It's part of the feeding, so they can go by the pits and get water splashed on them in that area. Rochette continues to push the pace. Backer, as we've seen before, really the main one to be able to keep with her, although Mia Asseltine is coming off a 2nd place earlier, as we said, in Roanoke, doing the same, although she is running. Nice move there. She's running, Rochette's riding, but she was able just to sort of get in the way of Rochette on the remount and slow her down a little bit, and that sort of leads to Manna Backer taking the lead as they finish up the lap coming through Factory Hill. Factory Hill, from the World Cup days, this is a little different. In the World Cup, they would go down all the way almost to the wall of Factory Hill, and this topside barrier was much lower, so that this high line really didn't exist, and that meant that they would come in and then you had to make a really steep right hand turn. This way you can sort of gradually work your way up there. Still a hard feature, but really not the same severity that it's had in the past. Here we go, lap 2. Knoll really dropping off the pace. Now she was up there in the front for that first lap. Now kind of dangling on the back of the lead group. Raylan Nuss there, as well. This is Lauren Zerner, Lily Sonneman a little farther back. And here we go. This is the place where attacks are made in Waterloo, Wisconsin. From pit 1 up this long drag. If you can just get this power, this is where races are won historically. And Magali Rochette using that to her advantage. She got to pit 1, got out of the saddle, and just went and did not relent until she was on the other side of that flyover. And that's the type of thing, if you are behind her, you have to go. If you don't, it's just going to be a chase for the rest of the day. Carolyn Mani in her next to last race at the UCI level, finishing up the Trek USCX. At least that's what she says. She may do some other ones. Who knows? On the run-up, Magali Rochette coming up there. That is Asseltine and Bacher chasing. Sydney McGill, haven't mentioned her yet. She's still in the mix. And Nico Knoll still trying to hang on. So Canadian at the front and 2 Canadians at the back of our lead pack. This is looking at the off-camera from the other direction. Then we switch around and see it. Really washed out down there. It's much steeper where you're seeing the riders coming down. With McGill and Knoll. Get a little better look here where we see Sonneman and Zerner come down. But yeah, really tricky where our camera setup is where people have been going down and just sliding out into the fencing at the bottom of the off-camber. Up and through the secret bar section, which still exists back in the woods, and Rochette is starting to stretch out the lead. You know, she went early. We saw the attack on pit 1 about 3/4 of a lap ago, and she's just continued to build on that. McGill now is a little dropped off the back. Rochette, only one in your scene. We pan back and you see Mia Asseltine now taking up the chase. Manna Backer a little farther back to the planks. So Rochette rode the first time. Asseltine sort of got in her way a little bit, and then after that, with the lead, decided to go back to the run. Maybe safer, figuring she has. This is a part of the course where if you are riding versus running, you really have an advantage. As we see Nico Knoll take advantage of it because it's a little uphill. So if you can stay on the bike, these we talked about in the previous rounds the really high planks that we saw at Rochester and also in Charm City. The planks at Trek aren't as tall. They're more what we would consider like these Euro planks, and I think that is a product of the World Cup being here, where the European riders are used to much lower planks than we have in the U.S. The maximum height they can be is 40 centimeters, but there's no rule saying it has to be 40 centimeters. So a lot of times in Europe, it's lower, it's easier to ride them, and that's what we have here. So we see a lot more riders taking advantage of those low planks. Mannebacker still falling off the pace a little bit in third, as we see Asseltine now has caught Magali Rochette, and again we are back to this pit 1 section. You can see Rochette once again out of the saddle early and now settles back in, and Asseltine looks like she is up to the task, able to match Rochette pedal stroke for pedal stroke, get right back up onto her wheel. Great work by Asseltine just to stay with Rochette, and that means that both those riders now are just going to stretch that lead over the rest of the field. As we pan back, we see Manna Backer a little bit more distanced. This is Nico Knoll being chased down by her teammate Raylan Nuss. Nuss started a little slow, but seems to be ramping it up and getting back into the action, looking to track down Knoll, who was up in that leading group earlier. To the run-up once again. Rochette smooth up there. Asseltine able to stay on her wheel. Pan back. Mannebacher still not out of it. Still not out of it. So she comes up the run-up onto the flyover one more time. That was Zerner and Sonneman. Here we see that Rochette looks like maybe a second lead over Asseltine, maybe has stretched it out a little bit as we come to this long climb. It sort of flattens out in our camera view, but this is a pretty decent climb back up to the top of the course. This is on the opposite side of the secret bar, so if you were just to flip the camera around, you would see the section where the riders come back in about a minute and a half, and they're on the side of the secret bar. Here's Bacher. That tree is always funny, right in the middle of the course. It has been used strategically. We've seen attacks go on either side of that tree, but just a sort of a bit of a quirk of the course here in Waterloo, where that just sits right in the middle. Here's Nuss still tracking down Nico Knoll ahead. Maybe at this point she has passed her. We'll have to see what that situation is when they come back into view. Asseltine, but another second down now on Rochette as we see Bacher come through. We can't see any of either of the riders at the end of pit 2, so still a pretty big gap there. Sydney McGill kind of lost in no women's land in the middle here. Haven't really talked about her. She's sitting a little farther down the pack, I believe, in 4th place. There's a secret bar as they come through in this little stone wall at the top. Great crowds back here all weekend. There's a DJ back there, and then they had like fire eaters and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So big party atmosphere. Cross not dead. It's being kept alive by things like the secret bar here at Trek headquarters in Waterloo, Wisconsin. Back farther down, I think this is the battle for 7th place, but a close one with Zerner and Sonneman. Here comes Sid McGill through the secret bar, trying to work her way back up to a podium position, but definitely has her work cut out for her. Up and over the planks and underneath the flyover, Rochette finishing up another lap. She'll be heading towards Factory Hill. Asseltine looks like she's definitely working a little bit harder to get up there, struggling where Rochette looks smooth, and they got a lot to go. Like, Rochette went out really fast there, really just made it so that these lap times were low, which meant that they were going to plop on a lot of laps. So we've been racing for a while, still have 4 laps to go in this race. Up to the flyover. Bacher still about the same gap that we've seen in the last lap between her and our leading 2, which is now really just 3 individual racers out here. Rochette seems to have a decent gap over Asseltine as she comes to the log stairs. Log stairs, a classic feature at this course. They actually changed that. The logs were a little farther, I think, to the left for the first year or so, and it was just 1 or 2 built this new feature in here, and it's been a standout one on this course for years now. Under the flyover, heading towards pit 2, Nico Knoll has now caught Sydney McGill, so the 2 Canadians are going to continue to ride around together. 3 laps to go. Look at this beautiful shot through the woods of Rochette. Just the light coming through there. These late autumn days, afternoons, just really pretty. Back in the backyard of Trek headquarters, Knoll now has moved in front of McGill as they finish the climb up towards the back of the course. This is Rochette once again through the secret bar and back towards the planks. Followed a few seconds later by Asseltine. Pan back, and we got Mann and Bacher. All 3 of these riders just kind of holding serve, holding their spots in there. The spread is about the same between the riders each time we see them. Although with Asseltine going over the planks, I wonder if we're going to pan back here. We are. And wait a second, and there we're going to see Mann and Bacher. So that seems like it's a little closer than what we've seen in the last few laps. So Bacher falling back early. I believe she may have had an issue with Zerner on the run-up, and that led to her delay and dropped her off the pace of Rochette early on. So we see Nuss come through now with McGill and Knoll behind her. So Nuss sitting in 5th place. We got Rochette, Asseltine, Bacher, I'm sorry, 4th place. And then I think it's Nuss and then McGill and Knoll. So that's your top 6. Up the flyover, up the run up one more time. You can see the gap there. Still chugging away, Asseltine, but those having to do 6-7 times up that run up starts to take its toll. Nico Knoll now in front of McGill as they get to the flyover, and as soon as I said that, McGill makes the pass, goes on to the front. Through the log steps, Asseltine is up and over. Bacher now almost on the same stretch as Asseltine. So that's one that we're going to keep our eye on because that gap seems to be coming down. Nuss, a little bobble there, a little bike strike on the log, but did not slow her down. She's keeping her gap, and this is the battle a little farther down between McGill and Knoll. And you can see that's where we're keeping on that McGill and Knoll fight. That's sort of the closest battle that we have here in our top 5. Maybe not for long because it just seems like we're not getting any camera cuts in here. We see Asseltine come through, and then we see Bacher come through. So, I don't know. So far, Mia Asseltine doing a great job keeping her at bay, but we'll have to watch and see in these last couple laps if that changes at all. Familiar picture at the front. Just cruising. Magali Rochette up and over the planks. Nice dismount. And on she goes on her way to Factory Hill in the end of another lap. Asseltine still looking smooth up and over, but a little more of a struggle once she gets back on the bike. And then Bacher with the advantage, as we talked about earlier, just being able to stay on the bike, ride, and keep her momentum, and then accelerate on the other side. So instead of having to remount and then find the pedals and then accelerate, if you never have to get off your bike, you can just accelerate right away. And Matt and Bacher are able to take advantage of that. All right, here we go. Final lap of the race. Rochette up her favorite part of the course from pit 1 to the flyover, continuing to go strong. Asseltine coming through a little bit later, and then we have Manon Bacher. She's got Asseltine in her sights now. I think what happened is that she started to feel the pressure from Nuss coming up behind. She could look behind, see Raylan Nuss there. That gave her the incentive to start pushing because she didn't want to lose that 3rd place position on the podium, and that brought her closer to Asseltine. I think once she saw that the gap was coming down, she took advantage, and as soon as we say it, here we are, last half of the lap, and Manon Bacher is not only caught, but past Asseltine. You saw that she used those planks to her advantage. She was able to get out ahead and just really increase it. She came to the planks a little bit ahead. She left a lot ahead. We get to Factory Hill, and you can see the damage done not 15 seconds after they went over that planks, and Asseltine already about 5 or 6 seconds down as we're coming to the end of this, waving the Canadian flag. There it is. Winner on the day, Magali Rochette. Smooth ride for her. Manon Bacher, potential ride of the day. Just come back, had some issues early on, was able to fight back all day long. Didn't want to lose that 3rd place and ended up getting 2nd as a result. Great ride by Asseltine, though, coming back from Road Worlds, jumping right back into cyclocross and right back onto the podium. So great ride for the first American in our race here in 3rd place. Nico Knoll a little farther down with her battle with Sid McGill, signing some autographs there, Manon Bacher. And there it is. That is your U23 podium. That's Asseltine, Knoll, and Sonneman. And your women's lead podium of Rochette, Asseltine, and Bacher. And this is what Magali Rochette wanted. She has never won in Waterloo until today, and all she wanted was that hockey jersey. Let's take a look at these results, and then we'll chat with Magali Rochette. But before we do, you can see that celebration. That was a little retirement party for Carolyn Mani at the end of our race.
Magley, that's you.
That's me.
Oh man, it's been a long season. The season really hasn't even started yet.
I know, but I feel the same way, so I'm not blaming you.
Okay, I have this memory of this video that I shot of you and Katka fighting over the World Cup jersey, like 15 feet from where we are now in the mud.
Yes.
And that weekend, you were right up there at the top of the World Cup after a jingle, or leading the World Cup, yeah? Yeah. Did not win here.
Nope.
Have not won here since then.
Ever.
Finally won in Wisconsin.
I know, and I'm really happy because I had good races here. Like back in the days, like maybe 2013 or 2014, I had like a breakthrough race here. And coming out of nowhere, I finished second behind Elle Anderson back then. But I was like mixing it up with like Meredith Miller and Nicole Duke and all these girls that I admired. And I finished second. And then the World Cups, like that year against Katarina, I still finished fifth. And then a couple years ago, I finished fourth at the World Cup. So I had strong races, but I never won. And so this week, actually, I was like, I'm not letting that hockey jersey go away. Like and it's cool. And like I've seen like so many good athletes wear, like Yolanda wear it and A.V. Richards, and I was always envious of it. So I'm really happy about it.
You even made the comment earlier, we're like, I really want I'm not sure if you all are doing hockey jerseys anymore, but I really want one.
Yes, I was really hoping.
And it worked out. You got one.
Out.
Yeah.
Yes, and honestly, like I didn't race super smart today because of that. Like I was like, I'm not letting that hockey jersey go. And so I went early today and it was warm, so that was not smart. But I was like, fuck it, I need that jersey.
I mean, basically pit one, you just kind of went.
Yeah, I know, that was honestly dumb. Like that was not a smart way to race, and I kind of regretted it. But then I was like, I'm committed. And when Mia caught back to me, I'm like, I'm going to attack again and see if she's following me or if it breaks her. And I think I got the gap there. And then they said 4 to go. And I was like, oh, shoot, like that's going to be a long race. So I tried to pace it once I was in front. And my strategy, like once that was done, is like I was trying to attack the technical section. So I could gain time in the technical section, but not like blow the rooftop. How do you say blow my engine up like in the heat?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I played it. But got the jersey, so it's all good.
Awesome, you got the jersey, and yeah, you're right. So when we're out there filming this, we kind of time it by watching, especially the junior races, and go, oh, we can go to this place, and we got plenty of time to get to this place. And then you got out there, I was like, oh, well, she's getting there much faster than I thought. So I knew that y'all were flying. I was like, this is going to be a lot of laps.
Yeah. I mean,
which it turned out.
Maybe dumb. I'm sorry for everybody for making it a really long race, but yeah, I mean, it was good. I love the course here, and I've always loved it. And honestly, Mia Asseltine was super, super strong today, so I kind of got scared a little bit when she caught up, and that's why I went back again to test her. But yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. One more race on this series. It's been a good month, but I think everybody's getting tired, myself included. So one more, we'll try to keep it rubber side down tomorrow, and yeah.
Yeah, and just to finish up, at the podium ceremony, you kind of had a little impromptu retirement party for Caroline Manier, which is pretty cool. So what's just racing with her throughout the years?
Yeah. Actually, we looked it up on cross results and all these things, and Caroline is the person I raced against the most in my entire career, like over 130 times. And she's been there, like I was looking up to her when I was coming up in the ranks, and now after that, like we had a good battles, and now like she's on her way out. But I think what she did for North American cyclocross is huge. Over the years, like having her presence here and a lot of other Euros at the beginning, but I think having them, it really elevated the level for women's racing here. And we had to step up. And I think that allowed a lot of us to be able to compete in Europe. And so I'm just really thankful for her racing with us, and for her committing to come here and racing here. And I think above that, like just her energy, she's just so positive. She's always making everybody smile, and that's what makes North American cyclocross special. So it will be different without her, and I thought it was important to just do a little something to thank her and congratulate her on such an awesome career.
We had somebody ask us for the cyclocross radio, if you all speak to each other in French and like the grid and before races.
Yes, most times. It's funny. Sometimes we do speak English because my accent is very different from hers. So when I speak to her in French, I have to make a little bit of an effort. But we're close enough now that she gets it. Like, she understands Québécois, no problem. So yes, we speak French, and even in the races, like from the very beginning, like back in the days, if I found myself like with her, she started like speaking me in French and like doing tactics in French against the other riders. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And so we've been kind of doing it ever since.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, congratulations for today, and one more in the USCX tomorrow.
One more. Let's see if we can keep it going.